Welcome and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about trends and digital innovations in the medical device industry. Before we get started, we'll cover a few housekeeping items. If you need any assistance during today's broadcast, there is a chat function at the bottom of your screen. You can send us a message there and we'll work to resolve any issues. There's also a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. You can use that to ask questions at any time, and we'll also have some dedicated Q&A time later in the webinar. My name is Jessica Madsen. I am the Senior Product Marketing Manager here at MasterControl.
And I'm Marty Smythe. I'm the SVP of Go-to-Market at MasterControl, and we're happy to be here with you today. One of the reasons that we're really excited to talk to you is that MasterControl has the unique perspective of being able to service over 300 plus medical device companies, ranging from equipment to medical devices to combo devices to wearables. And it's really an area where we get a lot of interaction with customers in your markets that help us understand potentially what's going to impact you moving forward in 2024. And so we're going to start by taking a quick look in reverse, though. Always a good grounding point for looking forward. And one of the big things that happened last year that we see playing out in 2024, but also further beyond, is regulatory guidance on remote inspection. Coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic and the remote assessments that played a vital role in that, we saw that the Congress passed in the Food and Drug Omnibus Act the mandate for the FDA to really start looking at and provide full guidance and authority to conduct remote inspections. I think we all know that this is just the start, that it takes a while for input and the FDA to work with groups before it'll become a standard or widespread. But that happening last year, will continue to see that evolve and move forward in 2024. So that was a big thing from last year. One of the other big things we saw was, again, in some ways related to the ability to deliver not inspections, but care remotely, and how that has increased over time, and the advance of wearables. This evolution and continued growth of this medical device as a service market, a lot of different ways in which this is playing out, but the idea that it's not just a device, but a set of data and intelligence that can be offered as an incremental revenue stream, but also delivers significant benefit to end users that may not have traditionally had access to care, or can now have real-time information about their conditions, both for themselves and their physicians. We see this continuing to be an area of expansion and something we'll see quite a bit more of in 2024. And then as we kind of started the look back, we'll wrap the look back with the regulatory environment. Any updates and guidance in there always essential. I think one of the things that we saw being a big thing from 2023 that'll play forward in 2024 was the pathway for the devices that had received emergency clearance to have a path to standardized clearance. And then also, I think we saw an uptick in recalls in the medical device space, especially in the first half of 2023. Several of those having traditional metrics around them from quality issues, et cetera, but also an uptick in manufacturing cited issues. Looking for companies to put measures in place in 2024 to ensure that cycle of increased recalls comes down. So I think that'll be something that carries from 2023 and pulls us into 2024. So with that, we're going to segue into actually covering some of the things that our customers and us here at MasterControl have spotlighted as major trends for medical device in 2024.
Yeah, with those key events that Marty just talked about, along with many other factors, we've grouped together some key trends into four main areas that we're looking ahead to in 2024, namely regulation and legislation, therapeutics, macroeconomic, and technology. And overall, you'll notice with all of these trends an underlying theme of how digital improvements and innovations are affecting everything about how life sciences operate. First, we'll dive into regulatory and legislation. The FDA has indicated a focus on simplification and security for 2024. So for this category, we'll begin with the focus on digital transformation. Just this past December, the FDA held their second annual FDA Digital Transformation Symposium to discuss the newly released FDA IT strategy. And that strategy focuses on 6 main goals, including enhancing collaboration, strengthening infrastructure, modernizing services, sharing data, adopting AI and innovations, and cultivating talent and leadership. And specifically relevant to the medical device industry, the FDA released guidance on the Electronic Submission Template and Resource, also known as eSTAR, which is now the required mode for the submission of 510Ks. This represents another step by regulators toward using more automated and digital processes that guide users and help ensure a simpler and more complete process. Next in the regulatory category is cybersecurity. In September of 2023, the FDA finalized their guidance document on cybersecurity in medical devices. And in this guidance document, the FDA directly ties cybersecurity to quality and recommends a product development framework. And to underline this need for security, they cited the 2022 ransomware attack on a German hospital that delayed patient care and caused patients to need to be rerouted to a different hospital. So as we previously mentioned, medical devices continue to be more and more connected, and that brings the guidance for security around the electronic exchange of any health-related information based on these medical devices really into focus, especially in the increase of cyber incidents and threats that could disrupt the patient care.
That's great. And we'll transition into some of the trends we see in the therapeutics space. And based off of where Jessica just talked on the cybersecurity front, we are going to talk about a couple of major trends that are really around that interconnected smart medical device space. The first being the biowearables market. We certainly see these, everything from like continuous glucose monitoring to apps that athletes are using on a day-to-day basis. There's really this explosion of being able to tap into real-time data from your body through connected devices to deliver kind of game-changing therapeutics. And anytime you see a $58 billion market, growth number, that there's a lot of focus and a lot of attention being placed on bringing those products to market. And one of our customers that we'd like to highlight is Abbott. One of the things that they really quoted from last year that we think is going to be relevant moving into 2024 is with biowearables, direct data from our bodies will allow us to unlock even more personalized insights to inform how we can be the healthiest. And so I think this idea of being able to connect and turn the body's own data into enhanced treatments and a higher quality of life is going to continue to drive a lot of product development and a lot of revenue in the medical device space. Building off of that, looking at the overall Internet of Medical Things, as Jessica highlighted, while there are a lot of advantages to this and a lot of benefits, there are risks that have to be assessed simultaneously. The cybersecurity side of things will continue to be a major focus, but the product development of bringing more and more connected devices and connected ways to treat patients and engage with patients is going to be something we continue to see in 2024 and beyond.
Discussion around the economy is focused on the impact of higher interest rates, if those rates will stay higher for longer, and how the economic uncertainty in general has impacted investment in the medical device industry. As we look to see the impact of these trends, a key theme continues to be utilizing technology to adapt and come out ahead. Geopolitical tensions across the globe impacted everything from oil prices to general market turmoil. All eyes will be on the 2024 presidential election in the United States and the impact the outcomes can have on economies worldwide. And although on paper inflation looked to be cooling both last year and into this year, consumer sentiment shows that the impact of higher prices continues to remain and be perceived as high across all categories, and interest rates, as I mentioned, remain elevated. Adding to this, we continue to witness the fallout of the pandemic years and the shifts that has caused for life sciences and our daily lives. All of these factors and more make it evident that we aren't out of the woods as an industry, and as uncertainty prevails, it will continue to be a key driver in instability for medical device manufacturers across the world. Many industries find themselves needing to do more with less. The medtech industry experienced a 57% reduction from 2021 to 2022, and that seems to be continuing into 2024. MedTech, along with other life science industries, enjoyed sustained profitability during the pandemic, and now that things have relatively normalized, that trend has started to shift. The key focus has pivoted to return on investment in areas that can increase revenue and decrease costs. So think of investing in automation to increase efficiency. And this includes scrutinizing everything from manufacturing and business processes in order to eliminate manual work and move the focus to higher impact areas. This focus on efficiency can be realized through digitization of manufacturing. Our research of digital maturity in life sciences discovered that 65% of respondents are striving to increase the digitization of manufacturing, and 55% have a formal digital transformation plan. And after realizing these efficiencies, the opportunity to keep employees and retrain them as needs changed moved into focus. Finding and retaining employees in the medical device industry is proving to be a challenge due to the high degree of specialization as medical devices increasingly involve more connected and more complicated technology, as we've talked about earlier. And companies are finding that it is more economical to invest in training their current staff, to take on new skills, and focus on making medical device careers appealing through flexible work schedules and a clear career path, and emphasizing the important nature of the work. As industry employment growth has slowed down to only 2% in the past few years, and news of layoffs has become more commonplace, the ability for workers to pivot and expand their skills becomes even more important than ever.
Thanks, Jessica. And one of the reasons we had technology follow the economic trends is, as Jessica talked to, there's probably not a company out there that isn't being asked to move faster, to run leaner, and to be smarter about their resources and their decision making. And that's an area where we see technology really playing a role in 2024 moving forward, is giving companies the ability to gain operational velocity, to do the same with less and run leaner, and then to really use emerging technologies to de-risk decision making and actually increase their ability to predict and prevent issues that may get in their way and hold things back, or may actually result in product recalls or something as significant as that. One of those areas is clearly the proliferation of generative AI. We saw in 2023 this technology explode into the mainstream. And while AI has been a top trend for a number of years, the use cases have tended to be in certain parts of the business or managed through certain parts of the organization with a heavy intensity in data science and data expertise. With generative AI, we really saw that push to the forefront of organizations. And while it's still in its infancy and probably causing just as much consternation as it is optimism, it's really going to be something that you see a lot of companies and a lot of vendors bringing solutions to market that help the frontline workers, help administrative workers, move faster, run leaner, and be smarter about decisions. Still early days. We're still seeing the way in which the FDA and other regulatory bodies will weigh in, as well as companies' own stances on the large language learning models, how they're managed, whether they sit in-house or external, a lot of variables, but there's no doubt we're going to see a tremendous amount of cycling through potential options for application of this technology in 2024 and beyond. So looking at the FDA in particular, one of the areas that they came and have started to communicate against is their approach. And just to quote them, the approach to the FDA is proposing in the recent draft guidance will put safe and effective advancements in the hands of healthcare providers and users faster. increasing the pace of medical device innovation in the United States and enabling more personalized medicines. I think when you really look at it, they're clearly going to say that AI is a value adder, but with incredible caution. And so it's going to be one of those things that rolls forward in fits and starts and will take some time to scale. The other area that we're seeing a lot of impact in, as Jessica mentioned, is the overall digital maturity of organizations. As we talked about, so many of the medical devices at their heart being digital now and being highly connected and highly data driven. This same mantra is pulling through to organizations themselves, and they're focusing on consolidating digital platforms. They're focusing on modernizing those digital platforms, particularly in areas that allow the organization to move faster and be more flexible. So you'll see a lot more adoption of no-code software that allows people to configure and update their systems in much shorter time at much lower cost. And then that integration of advanced data and AI technologies into the softwares that organizations use to operate in a regulated environment will continue to be a major advancement and something to prioritize in 2024.
Thank you. So that brings us to how the trends that we see for the industry, parallel trends we continue to see in the market for how people are evaluating software that will help them meet their goals. First, speed, a system that is built to allow you to more quickly and effectively deliver products to patients faster in a market where, as we saw, regulation and economic factors and more can slow you down. Flexibility, a system that easily adapts to your unique processes and workflows, allowing for high mix, low volume production to meet the demands for innovative and highly personalized devices, as we've talked about. And intelligence, the ability to have a system that offers advanced analytics and AI built in to inform decisions and allow your company to identify areas of opportunity and help you feel more confident in this climate of uncertainty that we've discussed. So at MasterControl, we work to develop our software to address these key elements and more to make sure our medical device customers are delivering products that make a difference in people's lives sooner. MasterControl is uniquely positioned to deliver across both quality and manufacturing departments on speed, flexibility, intelligence, and more, as we are the proud leaders in respective software categories for our quality excellence, quality management system solution, and manufacturing excellence, our manufacturing execution system solution. So we'll quickly take you through a few MasterControl features of solutions related to speed, flexibility, and intelligence. To start, FDA guidance for years now has promoted a risk-based approach to validation, and MasterControl takes that a step further with our patented validation innovations. Validation on Demand is our latest innovation, embedded directly into our QX and MX software. With VOD, users can eliminate risk by quickly and easily validating their custom workflows for quality event management and custom templates for manufacturing in minutes. In the past, this could have taken weeks, slowing down processes and delaying production. And now these processes can be more streamlined because validation literally happens in minutes and with the click of a button. Next, we spoke earlier about the importance of adapting as your business shifts and changes, and our MX and QX software solutions are built to allow users to easily configure their system to meet unique needs and specifications, and also to adapt as those needs change based on regulatory or business changes. And finally, as we all continue to make smart decisions in 2024, given a continued market of uncertainty, we all recognize that we need data, analytics, and intelligence to inform those decisions. Our solutions support your data-driven decision needs with robust analytics, proactive and practical intelligence that's available in our business intelligence product, MasterControl Insights, as part of both our QX and MX solutions. These visualizations help to easily understand trends or bottlenecks and help users save time on the regular metrics that you report out on for both quality and manufacturing departments.
Thanks, Jessica. So we really appreciate you spending some time with us today and going through the medical device trends for 2024. We've saved some time for some Q&A, so we're really excited to hear what questions you guys have and provide some answers to that. And then we also want to remind you that you can download the industry brief that is available from MasterControl that has this content plus some additional information in it that we hope you find very useful. So with that, thank you for attending, and we are going to open up to Q&A. Well, it looks like we have our first question in, and I'm going to have Jessica answer this one, but I'll read the question. It's, given the FDA's focus on cybersecurity, how can a software solution help our organization meet the new regulatory requirements?
So a lot of the guidance specifically to cybersecurity relate to documentation around plans for addressing cybersecurity vulnerabilities, how to submit those plans around monitoring and addressing those vulnerabilities, and documenting processes and procedures to ensure that you understand what to happen if you do have an attack or vulnerability. And so as with any documentation that is part of a regulatory requirement, they should be tightly controlled with a document management system solution, and ideally one that is connected to employee training, both so that you can ensure that your processes are understood, your employees know what to do, and that should an audit happen, you can prove that you have completed all of these regulatory requirements. We have another one. I'll go ahead and read that out, and Marty, I'll let you answer this. How can AI-powered solutions help our medical device manufacturing operations and quality management? Is this realistic?
Well, I'm sure that is a big question, and there's a couple different ways to look at it. I think the first is the quality of the large language models and their applicability to medical device and their applicability to the quality management and manufacturing space. So one, you need a tremendous amount of data to train these models. So you're going to be looking for either in-house or through partners to discover and test models that are using enough data that's relevant data to come up with answers and assistance that is valuable. And the other part is to look at, the ability for them to minimize hallucinations and other issues that could actually give bias into the results, which can send you faster in a wrong direction or increase your risk rather than de-risk your decision making. So you have kind of that back end side of it. You also then step forward with the security postures around it, the ability to protect the data that is used to train the models, the ability for that data to always be secure, whether you have policies in place to always own and maintain that data in a certain environment or in a partner's environment. Those are decisions that will have to be made. So those are kind of like the back end side of things. When we talk about, is it going to be effective for quality and for manufacturing? I think the answer is undoubtedly yes, but I think the use cases are just going to continue to evolve. And I think the use cases in many cases will be more practical than maybe the hype cycles that preceded them. If you think about how many employees you have that have to do training and exams to demonstrate competency, how much time does it take to generate exams based off of all the things that you need to train on? And could a generative AI solution auto-generate those exams much more efficiently than your teams today? And what value would that create? Time savings, cost savings, et cetera. You can scale that out to SOP creation or even SOP translation. How many times do you have to translate documents for either geographic adoption for localization or perhaps into a production environment for line workers to be able to do their native language for SOPs? Again, something that manually and through traditional sources is cost prohibitive sometimes and definitely a big time restraint. Thinking about how generative AI can do that in an automated way and what kind of impact that will have. Deviation analysis within production, et cetera. There are going to be a lot of practical use cases that I think will have impact sooner than later and will have a feel of very useful versus kind of the hype generated cycles that preceded it. And looks like we have another one in that Jessica, why don't you take this one, but I'll read the question.
Okay.
We're being asked, given uncertainty in the market, yes, we covered that, and high costs for developing medical devices, how can I justify a costly and time-consuming software purchase?
So there's no denying that cost will be under a microscope for 2024 and likely beyond, as we have talked about. And so for this answer, I am going to focus on automation. Things that you can automate through software that save your employees 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there, compounded by the hundreds or thousands of times that you complete those tasks. For example, routing a document for signature, quality event management reporting, making sure that training has been done and following up on that. Anything that you can save there by 15 to 30 minutes can end up saving you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in the long run, because those are completed so many times during the year. So that will end up directly affecting your bottom line. And then you can also, as we've talked about, pivot people to things that are going to be more valuable and impactful for your company in general. So we have one more question. I'll go ahead and read it, and then how about you take this one? So how often should my company be evaluating our tech solutions that we have or don't have in place to make sure that we're using the right tools to eliminate risk and comply with regulations and streamline our production?
Well, that is a good question. And I think you have to look at it in a couple ways. One, if you're a mature organization where you have a lot of legacy systems in place, some of them homegrown and some of them off the shelf from vendors, but perhaps on premise or an older version of cloud-based software, you probably have a cycle in which you are regularly reviewing your software. You're looking at things like, have we achieved a good utilization of the initial upfront cost, and is that outweighing functional issues where we maybe aren't getting the most modern or capable functionality, and coming up with a balance point of, when you have amortized your cost and investment and when it is actually impeding your operations to be using legacy software. That's, kind of a more of a large company, established company perspective. When you're a smaller company, you're usually fortunate enough to be able to go with modern digital software out of the gates, but you don't have the budget to do it as early in a company cycle as you'd like. So a lot of that comes down to understanding your growth, understanding your financial backing, and when it is time to get the right systems in place versus how long you may bootstrap or use systems that, while cost effective while getting started, could put you at risk downstream right when you're trying to scale and when you're trying to really grow commercially. You want to make sure that you're not in that place or anything that impedes you from getting regulatory approval and moving on to that next phase of your company. So there's kind of two perspectives on it and two very different worlds. And as always, there's some place in the middle. But the general balance is, modern software with the modern data models, the no code configurability, and the ease of integration with your other systems deliver decided advantages. They do come with a cycle of either replacing existing technology or investing and implementing the first time. I think you really have to look at your company and where you're at in your stages, and those cycles will be longer or shorter depending on that.
If we didn't get to your question, we will follow up with you. And thank you to everyone who participated today for joining us.